We need to call this meeting to order for the Kingman Airport Municipal Advisory Commission for the airport, the industrial park. Janie, can you do a roll call? Is there any way we can get rid of the echo? Is there any way? Yours is off? Okay, maybe that might do it. Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please? Here. 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 I believe we have a quorum, is that correct? Thank you. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a hybrid meeting, which means that we can have participants can write in, call in, participate online. Do we have any such members of the public that are interested in that? Janie, have you received anything?
We did not.
Okay. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? We'd entertain a motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I will second that.
All in favor of accepting the minutes from the meeting of May 23rd, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Very well. Let's go on to reports.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Hope you're all doing well. So I want to just update you on some items since the last time I've been able to get up and talk with you. First, I want to talk about Allo Communications. They are in a facility now out at the industrial park. They opened a warehouse facility in an existing building, and they're currently up to 15 employees already. If you're not aware, Allo is a fiber internet, television, and phone company that will be building high-speed fiber throughout the city of Kingman, which includes the industrial park. 2021 annual report is a document that we've been working on since really the end of the year. That report has been completed, and we're just doing some proofing on it. It's going to be sent off to the printer this next week, and we expect to be doing a presentation to council on 7/5 for that report. And we go over all kinds of items in that report, from economic development to tourism. We do have a component of the airport that's also in that report. So we're also in the midst of doing a business retention expansion survey, where I go out and I'll talk with different companies. Just within the last few weeks, we've met with Lamanco, Portable Wood Sheds, which is a newer company out there at the park. They build your movable sheds, and then Shambo and Sons and Zepp. So we're going to continue meeting with industry over the next few months, get as many businesses participate in that as we can. by the end of the year, we'll have that report ready. So it'll be a process. And we are going to be, time to time, there will be stuff on our Facebook about the different businesses that we've met with pictures of their, of the inside of the, what's going on in the manufacturing process, things like that. So, always be keeping up on our Facebook postings. We got a lot of good things on that. Frito-Lay, the construction of that project's moving along nicely. That was on land that we sold. That was on the old shock center that we tore down so we could assemble some property and make that property pretty much ready and available to sell. And so they're going to be building, or they've already built a 5,276 square foot building on there, and that's moving along very nicely. Interstate trailers, if you've noticed, the walls have gone up on that facility. That's a 20,000 square foot building. Back in 2019, we sold land to them, and they've just been moving along the process in construction. The goal is to basically have them operational by September. So current land sales, Doug may have gone over this with you last meeting when I wasn't here, but we did complete the 16.27 acre land sale. And that property was purchased by Big Industrial. Big Industrial owns the what was the old Guardian fiberglass building. And with the businesses that they're talking to, they need additional land adjacent to their facility to add on in the future. So there was some cleanup on that property that had to be done, and as a component of that, they are required to go in and make that cleanup done during the process. It is on the grant, or it is on the deed, that they have to have that cleanup done within a year. And so that was a net proceeds of about $346,000 to the industrial park, or to the airport fund. Staff has also ordered an appraisal for roughly about a 6 acre parcel on a project that we've been working on for about, I'd say, 3 months. They've gotten to the point where they've filled out an application. It is a developer building it. Like any of these land sales, they still have to go through the process. Anything can happen, but we are at the beginning of that and moving that one forward. Some other prospects that we've, and I'll kind of go on the ones that are a little bit more higher up on the prospect list right now. A project called PF1. Submitted this one about a month and a half ago, and they're looking for an existing facility. We do have a building out at the industrial park, the old Big Industrial building that we just talked about. The company's looking for about 400,000 square foot. It does fit those parameters. It is a process again, but we are going to be doing a site visit with the company this week on that. That company will look to employ about 100 people should everything go accordingly. Project Matter is another project that we've been looking at, and over the last, since last time I talked to you guys, we did 3 potential sites that I showed them in the industrial park that are city-owned properties. So that went well. They're also looking at one site that's privately owned. So between those, the goal is to obviously locate the project here. It'll be 100 jobs upon full build out. So that's another exciting project that we're working on. So with that, that is my update. If you guys have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there anything that businesses, that ones you've talked to yet, been bringing up, like anything together that you can talk about before the report comes out?
So the report that I mentioned, the annual report,
The one at the end
or
of the
the
year?
business
The
retention
survey,
expansion.
yes.
I think last time, I believe somebody asked that question on it, and workforce comes up as an item that they want to. I think that's something though that everybody's seeing. as workforce. The other item I think would be roads, within the city, how the roads are, getting around, maintenance of those roads. That would be something that's coming. Broadband was a major issue. When I talk with industry, one of the things that they require is you have fiber. And if we can't check that one off, they move on. A lot of people don't realize that. So we have not.
I'm sorry, do you know how soon the fiber is going to be coming into with Allo or whatever?
That's what they've, proposed.
How soon will that be?
According to fiber, or according to Allo, within the next year, that is supposed to be built out. So the industrial park is a priority in their phases.
Okay.
So yeah, broadband's important. If I can't show that they can have fiber, they're going to move on. So not only that, with our existing industry, they need to have good, reliable service. So I think those are the big items right now. It's a good question.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Bradley. To put you on the spot, and this is really a question, not a quiz. Do you happen to know, I'm curious, what the unemployment rate is in Mojave County?
I want to say it was like, for all of Mojave County, under 4%,
So
right around there.
Still pretty tight like the rest of the
Yeah,
nation. I was wondering, 'cause we have 100
3.7.
jobs here and whatever they are. I just wonder if
Yeah.
it's going to be still tough to fill some of these things
Correct.
or not. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. The only reason why I kind of know that is because it was on our study that we're doing right now.
Right, I was
So-
figuring it might be in line with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So just good to know with it, if we have other companies, if they're going to be bringing some people in, some of these places are
Yeah, I
going to be
think
hoping to.
the industry we're looking at, or the ones that really show interest, they're not the super large employers.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be harder to fill, but the range that we're getting inquiries is not, that can be done.
It's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. So.
All right.
And there are industries right now that have come within the last year that have come in and started with 25 employees. They're now up to 80. And it's incentive packages, it's how much they're paying, those are things that are getting the better quality, workforce.
Right.
Looking at, working.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Bennett, do you find that some of these companies are bringing in their own employees from other locations?
Maybe for some skill sets, they might be moving a plant manager from another plant that's, been under, an existing operation, but not a large amount of
So for
workforce.
the
They're-
most
they're
part, they're
here.
hiring local?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good questions.
Any other questions for Mr. Bradley?
All right. Thank you, you guys.
Thank you. We'll move on to airport staff reports.
Good afternoon, everybody. For the airport, beginning this one off, activity is we have been speaking with Jet Yard. We're expecting to get a lease signed before the end of this month. We're helping them out or being reasonable with this, trying to say, let's move this forward. They said they still agree with the actual RFP for the 204,000 square foot parcel that they bid for last summer. We're pretty much given to the end of this month to actually come up with the property description and to sign the lease. We do understand that right now building is a little bit difficult. We will work with them on that, but we need some good faith of showing moving forward with this development of this property. As for Taxiway Bravo project, once again, we have been in communications with not only our engineers, but with the FAA and ADOT on this project. This is more of an ADOT due to the fact they're funding this project, not the FAA. A lot of these airports that are undergoing a lot of asphalt work, which this will be a part of it, they've been coming over bid. There have been a few that have been below bid. We're reaching out to them to try to get an idea of how they met their estimates. But a lot of this is still coming way over. So we're kind of holding off, seeing if fuel prices ever go down. Sorry about that. Asphalt prices go down. I'm really ready to move this forward, but we're just really concerned that this will go over the estimated amount, and then we'll have to go through a whole nother process to bring the price down to the original grant amount. So we're keeping work with ADOT on this one. We are working with our engineers pretty heavily on this one, and our engineers are keeping very much eyeballing other large asphalt projects that are occurring at airports throughout the state. And they are aware. I said, if it looks like your estimates for those projects are coming out correct, please let me know, because we would like to move this forward. I'm not a big fan of having this project going on at the same time as the draw site project. I said I'd like to keep both those projects separate when construction hits. If possible, I'd like to have Delta construction start first and get completed before we start working on the draw site, the actual physical construction of the draw site. For the PAPI project, we are working on that RFP and contract, trying to train somebody up with that, get a little bit more hands-on in the contract, so it's taking a little bit longer. Want somebody, our staff, to get a little bit more involved in these projects, kind of train them up. I believe in bench strength. So working with him, trying to explain with them on the whole process with ADOT contracts, with the FAA requirements. And we are moving forward with that RFP. Hopefully by the next council meeting, our next commission meeting, we'll have an RFP out there to move forward, hopefully get bids back and replace those PAPIs. Terminal landscaping project. The companies right now that we're currently in conversation with, they're really slammed right now. They're very difficult to get a hold of. They have given us a quote for the actual berm project on the opposite end of the airport, but we have not got anything back for the terminal project, for the actual terminal. They have given that to our Public Works department. So we're going to put pressure on them. We did roll this project over into next year, but we would like to get this done next year, really as soon as possible. But we do understand that they said, look, we're slammed right now. It's taking us a little while to get these final quotes back to you.
Manager Breckenridge, what is the, for the grass, non-grass area in the back area, what is that going to be, what's the long-term plan for that?
Well, what we're going to do is we're looking at actually placing a ditch in there, graveling that ditch, have that flow out to the parcels to the left and to the right, or north to south of it.
Around the building?
Around the building, yes.
Okay.
Turns out there's two catch basins just on the other side of the fence line from that area that will be perfect for collecting this water. There's also a catch basin that's not too big that's in the center. So we're looking at building a ditch, and also with this kind of a little bit swell on the backside towards the terminal, pushing the water out to the north and to the south into those catch basins. We're also possibly looking at removing one of those sidewalks that kind of stops the water and sits right there in that location. So we'll have one large sidewalk, possibly even expanding that sidewalk going from the apron to the actual terminal building.
Okay.
So we're looking at expanding that. We're also looking at dressing some additional, or looking at possibly getting additional concrete that goes up to the flagpole out back, and then have a little walk area going around the flagpole and that monument right there. So we're looking at adding that too. We're just waiting to get back quotes and estimates.
And the spaces between these walkways and the new concrete and whatever, is it going to be grass or natural rock or what?
We're moving towards natural rock.
Okay.
We're looking at rock. The actual sprinkler system's not in good condition. It has holes throughout the system. And if we also do put grass in there, we'll still have a, how can I say, groundhog issue?
Yeah, there is.
Rodent infestation.
Yeah.
So with that, just from maintenance wise, from water preservation wise, and just for better overall landscaping, we're looking at doing rocks, and then maybe in the future put in a little bit more plants that are more accommodating to our environment.
Okay. All right, thank you.
For master drainage study, they're still working on that. Our engineers, that's still moving forward. It's just not moving forward as fast. We're trying to tie that into the industrial park master development plan. Because whatever we do inside, once again, whatever we do outside of the fence line is going to impact what happens in the fence line. So if we go ahead and start developing a drainage program for inside the fence line, and then as the future industrial park starts developing out and around the airport, is really going to impact what happens inside and may make that drainage a little bit, how can I say, irrelevant, or make it to where it won't accommodate that additional water flow coming off future asphalt and concrete that will be developed in that area. So we're slowing that one down. We're going to be working both those hand in hand at the same time with the industrial park master development plan. And for the airfield painting, apron painting, we have completed that for the most part. We have painted all the lead-in lines that are going to the parking spots. We've painted actually several of the T parking spots, both on our actual tenant side, our ground tie downs, our transient pilots, and over at the FBO. We do realize that we're going to have some additional parking spots we're going to have to go back and address. We are aware of that, but when we had Mojave County out there that had their large machine, we just knocked out as much as we could. We also addressed the paint going around the T-hangers, and then we also addressed the paint on taxiway Delta and the Delta connectors. We're like, since we're right here, let's go ahead and just improve these markings and at least have it to where they'll be suitable for the next 3-4 years.
So for the tie downs, that there's airplanes parked there, stuff like that, you just later on, maybe if someone moves their airplane, then you can, if you have a piece of equipment that's small and you can go there and paint those small areas?
Yes, Commissioner Gaines, that will be one spot that we are looking at doing. We're also looking at painting the actual, how could I say, the lead-in lines going for each of the T-hangers to assist those pilots out with their T-hangers lining up their aircraft. So and including the actual cover tie downs, we're looking at repainting those too.
Okay.
It's just gonna be one of those where as people leave, and then once we get the equipment set up, going out there, touching it up, and then placing the actual glass beads for reflectivity down, and then letting it dry.
All right, thank you.
So it's gonna kind of be, as soon as we see the stuff open, we're gonna have to run out there and get it done. It's not ideal, but it's better than having everybody come out and move their aircraft at once. For the cover tie down and T-hanger lights, well, we finished the cover tie down lights. We have received a fresh order of the T-hanger lights, came in last week, Friday last week. The staff is getting ready to change out the remainder of the T-hanger lights on the A, B, and C row from the older halogen lamps to a much more newer, how could I say, LED. So increased power efficiency, and then also brings a little bit more light in the area for security purposes. For FAA and ADOT coordination, we have been speaking with the FAA on the ARPA grant. They said, yep, if that's what you're looking at doing, which we're looking at for some of the infrastructure inside the terminal building, for basically redoing the HVAC system, separating some parts from the public area of the terminal building, from the restaurant, putting in some type of viral bacterial agent that mitigates against the spread of germs. They are fine with that. We did speak with them Tuesday on that to try to push that forward, make sure or let them know that we have not forgot about that grant. They said that's perfectly fine. You have 3 years. We're planning to get the HVAC system done next fiscal year inside the terminal building. For runway 1735 and taxiway Charlie, pavement preservation. Last month, we did have one company that came out for the ADOT bid. They did scope out the area. But through that conversation with ADOT, a lot of these companies that do crack seal, joint seal, and actually apply the sealant over the runways and taxiways, they're kind of hermits. They move around. They get the the square footage, linear foots of the crack, and from there they put in their estimates. ADOT has not given us word on the actual bids at this time. They did not mention anything in our meeting that we held on Tuesday with them. They do say expect that to come out pretty soon, and then along with the schedule for that. Once again, I keep telling them, I said I really want to avoid a full airport shutdown throughout the day. I do want this phased. They do agree if it shuts down, it's going to be during the night for a very minimum amount of time. We're hoping that it may be around 3 to 4 nights of shutdown max. That's kind of the goal. For the draw site, as a lot of people have probably noted, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, Haley and Alger's firm came out. They started doing some little additional exploratory work inside the draw site. One of the items that they were very concerned about was the furnace areas back behind the portable hangars. They are concerned that those furnace areas may have asbestos. They dug down to the furnace areas. They took some samples of the furnace bricks. They took some samples of the concrete. And earlier or late last week, received a phone call from them. Turns out there is no asbestos in the bricks and the concrete, which is a big plus side. That will save us a little bit additional cash and make our lives a little bit easier when it comes to excavating that area. They are still going through the design phase. Some of these areas that discussions have been popping up is where this material will be transported. One group is, we were looking at one site in Nevada that will be picking up this dross, but another site has possibly shown interest. So this could be great. Competition's always good on bidding on this process. So they're working that out, trying to figure out how they're going to address the transport to whoever wins the actual bid when it comes to collecting this material. One site will take trucks, another site will take rail. So that's further discussions when we're trying to figure out if it goes with rail, where can we put it on rail? If it goes through trucks, what's the best way of getting trucks through the area with minimum disturbance to our industrial park tenants? So we are working with them. We at least have a brief phone call with them once every 2 weeks, and then once a month we have a full-blown conversation with them, going through all the questions that they have. Like a lot of questions they brought up on our end are who are our tenants, label them out, what do they do, what are their requirements. So we have been providing that to them, what's their lease space like, and then hopefully here in the next couple of weeks to even a month, we'll start reaching out to some of those tenants in that area and get their input on their businesses for phasing. Sorry, I know I'm moving pretty fast. Does anybody have any questions right now? No?
Don't think so.
Okay, for the FAA land release process, we have been providing additional information to Kaufman for some of the questions that the FAA has brought up regarding a couple of our tenants that do have leased property out there within the 1,700 acres. That's the entire southern section. That's not the two northern pieces. We provided them information. They have actually forwarded us some changes to some of the chapters that they made to correct the FAA's comments. We've reviewed that, provided our little input back to them, saying a little bit concerned with some of that information, how they worded it. So they're going to be making those changes. We've also provided them additional information of businesses that have shown interest in moving here to Kingman. And we have provided that information saying that they cannot, how could we say, we cannot put forward bids or put forward our proposals for them moving to the industrial park due to the federal obligations. We really want to pump that across, saying that due to these federal obligations, we've had companies that have wanted anywhere from 100 acres to even a little bit less, and we could not, how could we say, we could not put in our bids because due to the federal obligations. So we provided that information to be put into the EA land release, one of those chapters, chapter 1 actually. Along with that, the actual master development plan, we did receive a scope of work back, a complete scope of work, and then also a little bit of information on the cost of the project. We are working with them right now on that scope of work, making some fine-tune adjustments. Hopefully here in the next few weeks, we'll have everything settled out and we'll be able to move this forward with the actual price of the project, or not the price of the project, but move forward to bringing this project or this contract in front of City Council for their approval. For the hangar wait list, occupancy, executive hangars, all 5 are occupied. For B and C hangars, all 30 are occupied. We have, for the wait list for the A hangars, we have 5 people on the wait list. For the B and C hangars, we have 8 plus 1 relocation. For the D hangars, we did clear out that 1 storage facility last week, or actually about 2 weeks ago. We moved everything out. We've reached out to one of those individuals because at the time we had 3 people on the wait list. The first one on the list said he would like to move into it, so we're doing a little bit of, how could I say, touching up, cleaning out the cobwebs, sweeping out some rocks, and then he's going to be ready to conduct his walkthrough, his inspection, and then we'll sign the lease documentation so they'll be able to move into D5. And then that will leave just 2 people that are currently now on the wait list. Cover tie downs, we have non-occupied, 1 still open, 0 on the wait list at this time. For the budget report, sorry, I got the wrong percentage up at the top. It's not 83%. We're more like around 90% right there, or 90%. Next month meeting will be 100%. But for the revenue, overall revenue of the airport industrial park has been $1,425,695. For the total expenses has been $926,298. The revenue that actually was generated from the airport has been $1,277,262. And the revenue from the industrial park is actually $146,658. The airport expenses, we have gone through $954,558 of our operating budget. That's 66%. We kind of went back to that. Some of that is actually incumbent through the draw site and then through employee expenditures. Also, not only just the employee pay, but also the employee benefits. For the longest period of time in the beginning part of this year, we were not running with the full staff that we were budgeted to. So all that money is actually tied up really in those 2 areas. We're looking around $300,000 that we cannot move and shuffle due to how that money is labeled. Now, other money that we are moving and shuffling is to kind of clear up, or how could I say, what's going to be on the new agenda, also finishing up some painting, and also we've been using to purchase these new lights around the hangars.
Manager Breckenridge, refresh my recollection, the revenue from the industrial park side does not include land sales, is that correct?
No, it does not.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No, sir, it does not. And then total revenue, industrial park, 16,720. Or the total expenses from the industrial park has been $16,729, or only 22% remaining of this fiscal year. For the fueling report, we have managed to have a total of 213,739 gallons of fuel sold. I'm really happy that, I was kind of worried that for the month of May, we would see a significant drop-off in fuel from our avgas and our Jet A. We did have a drop-off with avgas, but Jet A, it seems to be holding pretty steady for the entire Jet A and avgas total together for that month. So I was really shocked on that. I kind of thought we would have had a major decrease in the amount of aircraft that are coming in and obtaining fuel due to fuel prices. But I think our FBO has done a good job with customer service and addressing customer service and people. We've seen an increase in business jets going into our FBO, which is making me really happy. That's getting those business aircraft in here. And do I have any questions?
Yeah, in the past, we've talked about possibly recruiting some other aviation businesses to the area, and I think we all would benefit from an avionics shop. In our discussions, you've indicated you might know an avionics shop that might be interested in coming in. Is there any progress on that?
Well, what we're looking at is the old hangar at, I want to say 4800 is the old Blumenthal hangar that came open. We have looked at what it will be required to get that building up to par. It does have some electrical issues, does have some drainage issues. And we have had 2 companies right now that have expressed interest. Speaking with those companies, we're trying to give them an idea of what we're planning to do. When we issue that RFP, competition's great. We're going to be looking at somebody to actually bring that building up to code. Now, bring it up to code, resolving the drainage, resolving electricity. They will be compensated for that. We do understand that they will be spending their own money to actually resolve those problems. So we have told them that we explained to them that when this comes out, they will be some form compensated for that to meet the electrical requirements and to resolve the drainage problem. But also we have told them, due to the fact that it sits on 1.6 acres and that hangar maybe takes up 1/4 of it, that we will be accepting additional improvements on that property. And so one of those companies sat back and they said they shake their head, they understand. I got to reach out to the other company, and then also recently today I had another company stop me and said they were possibly interested too. So now we're looking at 3 companies. And
Are any of these companies local, or are they all would be moving here from elsewhere?
2 are local, 1 is moving from elsewhere.
And they are aviation related, so they're going to be, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. They've asked to be not have their information spread around at this time.
Sure.
I really want to tell you guys, but this is a request of them. They said we don't want our information spread around until we actually submit our RFP. Then I told them, I said, once you send in your RFP, then it's public notice because it goes out there, it enters a public body. But we were trying to acknowledge or at least comply with their wishes of being remained, not going to say unknown at this time.
That makes perfect sense.
But it will very much benefit the airport.
So the way you're talking, this is a city-owned or an airport-owned hangar. Blumenthal hangar is an airport hangar, whatever?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is owned by the airport.
Okay.
I have a question about the number on the wait list. What's the average time that people have to wait for a hangar?
I'm going to leave that over to the lovely Miss Janie Platt. She has been keeping that wait list since she's moved over to the airport. Hey, Janie, bring it a little bit closer to your mouth.
We've had people on that wait list since they were built. The B's and C hangars, they're also the newer hangars. We probably have about 10 people on that wait list and have been on the list at least a year.
So is there any plans to expand how many hangars there are, or is that just, are we at like a limit?
No, we do have the ability to expand. Just the cost of constructing hangars right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, is through the roof. Give you a little background, let's look at the actual shade cover tie downs. I wanna say it was budgeted for this fiscal year. The estimated, cost for cover tie downs, their estimating was around 200,000. So when the new fiscal budget went into effect back in July, September, we reached out for updated estimates, and they actually came out to be around close to 300, around 300,000. And then about 3 months ago, reached out to another company, and they said now it's around 360,000. We've had other companies in the past express interest in building hangars, trying to bring in other partners into the airport. When they reached out and they found out about the price of hangars right now, just the sheer cost of the steel, the cost of the labor, they just said, we'll come back and speak about this later once the construction costs and price to construct these companies go down. One company said that some of these contractors, they're not even going to speak to them unless if they put down $400,000 for the actual construction for hangars.
That seems a little crazy.
I don't want to say exactly which airport it was, but one of our neighboring airports, they went out there, and it was well over $1 million, possibly getting close to $2 million just for the same amount of hangars that we were looking at. We're hoping that the price of everything will go down. There is a need, but we need the market to scale back on the cost of construction and construction material.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And with these costs, obviously, that then rents could probably even possibly go up on those units, depending on what it would be, what the payoff. But I know that the other, Jamie's been there forever, but I know I think the ones that the airport authority at the time bought, weren't they paid off early, I think? The hangars, Jamie, a while back? The ones that, like, there was a schedule, but they actually got paid off ahead of schedule. Does that ring a bell? Jamie? You're processing, okay. Okay. You don't remember? Okay.
Janie, do you remember when the A, B, and C hangars were built? What year was that?
I've been thinking about it.
Bring it a little bit closer.
I believe it was early 2000s or the late 1990s that they were built.
I think it was probably in the late 1990s.
So Commissioner Laumeister, there's a pretty common problem with a lot of airports not having hangars. I mean, it's a nationwide situation, and it's not right now because of cost. It's just been going on for a while, and it's a big expense, and a lot of the sponsors, the cities, if they own or whatever, don't want to pay. But the truth is, like, we've got this long wait list. They will get paid off and make money. They're making money now. We're profiting from them. So, it's not a quick turnaround like some casino or something like that, but it does pay off, and it's a service that the airport provides, and so it's something that we should look at when things are more reasonable.
One of the other problems is we cannot get matching funds from the FAA for hangars. That's something that we would have to pay for out of our own budget completely. So it's not like we can go to Uncle Sam and say, hey, can you cough up some coin for this project? Because they correct me if I'm wrong, they just are not going to do that.
It's so low on their priority list. The FAA actually has a priority list, and it has, expecting the aviation community, the first thing is safety, and it's the runways and the taxiways, and then you're looking at the ramp, and then you're looking at other safety support items. It's pretty rare for the FAA to help pay for hangars. Really rare, especially for smaller airports like ours. We have, as I said, I have reached out to try to get hangar quotes. This is actually a big issue throughout the entire nation. Our engineering firm, when we were reaching out for shade hanger quotes and also T-hanger quotes, nested, unnested, we were asking all those questions. They came across that problem too, where they were not receiving any estimates. And they were reaching out to other airports to get estimates for them. And there are large national engineering that focuses really heavily on the aviation industry. And they were not getting that information all the way back out east just due to construction costs and so much construction that the contractors could decide who they work for. And if you have something that's relatively that small compared to fighting somebody, or how can I say, taking a job, let's say with FedEx that's building that massive facility or building a small group of T-hangers, they're going to go after the FedEx. They're going to go after those larger constructions. So it became very difficult. When I've received the shade tie downs or the shade hanger spots, I immediately gave that over to them, and then they immediately started funneling that information out to our local Arizona airports, our neighbors, and including across the state, give them that information too. I asked them about the whole cost of building new T-hangers. One of our nearby airports, they received an estimate, and that's where they said it's well over $1 million, possibly hitting $2 million mark, depending on how much you want to shave it down. I even went out there and got a full-blown 90 by 90 foot hanger, because one of my little tactics is if a company wants to come in and develop a section of land, I could say, hey, here's already hanger estimates, here's the engineering. You could use this as a base to give you an idea of what you can construct, and that was well over $1 million, and that has not. People just said, look, the prices are too high right now. I mean, I'll be honest with you, as soon as the prices go down, yeah, I'm going to be definitely jumping on that. And I think if we do that, then we could probably, don't want to say steal from our local neighboring airports, but we could probably steal their customers too.
And the reason the FAA doesn't get involved with that kind of stuff too is because they do generate revenue, unlike a runway directly doesn't generate revenue. It makes things safer, like he was saying before, but the sponsor, in this case the city, can long-term make money from it, so they don't involve themselves with that, usually.
And if it's strictly a revenue generator, like a hangar lease, once you build it, the FAA will not touch it again. Let's say if you want to build a cover tie down, you build a cover tie down, the ground underneath it, due to the fact that it's strictly revenue generating for the airport, the FAA will not pay to replace that asphalt underneath it. So that's another little bit of input on how the FAA looks at it. If you do an exclusive lease agreement on a section of our ramp, if we do that, which we're avoiding that, that means that you cannot go after any federal funds for that section, that ramp, and all of it will have to come out of the airport's pocket. Sorry. I know you probably received more information than.
Well, no, I'm not a pilot, but I appreciate all the information, because I just was thinking of a bunch of different stuff, and I'm like, well, what's the return on, renting out something? How long have people been waiting and stuff? So no, that was really good information. I appreciate it.
And one thing that we're doing with our actual staff, we're keeping better track and time of how much time they spent in specific locations, like conducting hangar inspections, weed spraying, mowing on the airfield, you name it. We're keeping a little bit better track of that time, because we could actually use that information and get a better idea of the cost of how much it will, in the future, we're planning to get that information to give us an idea of the cost of the annual maintenance for the hangars. And that will give us a better idea of where we're standing on the revenue of the hangars compared to the expenditure of the hangars. But we got to build up that information first.
Are there any other questions for Manager Breckenridge?
Yeah, I've got a question. Manager Breckenridge, do you get very many complaints from, as a manager out there, from people leasing or aircraft owners?
No, a lot of it is very much constructive. We've had one of our tenants, he brought something up to my eyes and took a look at it, tried to resolve it this Sunday. That's why we have a NOTAM out next to the fuel farm. We used a new type of material that was supposed to be a coal patch for concrete. And the company that gave it to us said this will work great for concrete. We put it down and now it's turned into more of a headache. Just going to be honest with you. It was not how I want to spend half my Sunday out there trying to get it done because it was eating me up all weekend. I said, you know what, I could go out there, clean it out, and patch this myself. And no, it's not exactly living up to the expectations. So we're going through, we're discussing, we're going to give it till tomorrow to see if it actually hardens properly. If it doesn't, we're going to remove that out and put some different type of aggregate in there. But no, that's an example of a tenant actually providing a concern.
Right.
I wouldn't say complaint, I would say an actual concern. Recently had two other tenants stop and say, thank you very much for painting around the T hangers, but if you don't mind, just to help us out, especially at night and lining up with our hangers, if you notice these older markings, and we took a look at it, we're like, no, that's reasonable. That is a safety issue, that we could think of that as a safety issue, and we have that marked to being addressed.
Thank you.
All right, welcome.
Any other questions on the report? Let's move forward then to, looks like it's old business. I thought it was going to be new business, but I think we found out a while back that
May I say
there's
something,
been
sir?
discussions on it before.
Yes, sir. That one that you have was the draft that we had in our meeting to go over it. The actual newer version, the published version, it is under new business.
Okay, good. Let's go under new business.
All right.
Talk to us, please.
What we're looking at doing is, actually, let me grab the actual wording so I can make sure I say it perfectly right. For new business, we're looking at installing some chain hanger storage lockers. This is for discussion and recommendation from the commission. We have found a group of lockers that we will cover all 5 spots. It's going to be a stack lockers, 6 stacked on top of each other with their own locks. It will fit perfectly into the beams of the shade cover or the cover tie downs. We're looking at placing them in there, possibly even bolting them into the beam, and then giving those tenants their own keys. And it's, by looking at the size, you could fit a few bottles or quarts of oil, anywhere from 3 to 4, some rags, towels, so they do not have to fly around with all that, how could I say, necessary items in the back of their aircraft. We'll have a good spot to store it, or if they wish to store a few more items or different items inside those lockers. So inside your package, there is an actual example of those lockers. It's total lockers is about $129 each. Both of them after shipping is going to be around $260. So we're looking at installing 2, kind of part ways, 1/3 on each side of the shade hanger, so every pilot will have instant access to it or short walking access to it.
And for each pilot or aircraft, it would be 1 cube. Is that what that would be?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Would you have a master key in case they lose their keys and then you can't open the locker?
We're gonna plan to make duplicates.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, the lockers have a lock already in place, and it wouldn't be that they'd put a padlock on it?
No, it's gonna be almost like a standard mailbox key where you insert it, twist it, take it out. If we do have a tenant that wants to place their own key in it, it will be the same as we have for our T hangers, to where you must provide at least one key to the airport just in case something bad happens. For these halves and a couple of quarts of oil is not a big deal, but if there is some type of fire, then we would like to get into it or have the fire department get into it without taking an axe to the lockers. But we have had the fire department come out and take a look at it, and they do not see any violations of the fire code, and they're okay with it.
And you said the cost would be how much?
We're looking at around 260 for both and shipping.
And we have the money in the budget?
Yes, sir, we're taking them out of a furniture section of the budget.
Sounds like furniture to me.
And we're hoping that, we're looking at this, and if this does work good, then we may do that, or we may expand it out. This is something right now, had a discussion with my guys on this and said, hey, if we decide to go ahead in the future to give them larger lockers, if there's a need for that, will we have a need for these? And they're like, yes, we do. So we could provide these, so we could recycle these out, move them out in the future, depending on the growth and the needs of our community.
Any more discussion? Anybody want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to purchase these lockers for the shade hangers as presented.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. How long do you think it'll take to get them in?
We will be ordering them tomorrow.
Thank you. Next section is announcement by commissioners. Anybody have announcements? Paul?
Announcement I'd like to have on next month's agenda. I'd like to have Scott Brack actually come and give a small little presentation or primer on navigation, so we can familiarize the commission with what they are and important stuff. And we went through this many years ago, and got pretty close to actually having it done with the city, but I think it would be good to have him come in. He was a former commission member, has information on it. I love Scott. I'm going to limit him down because he's an engineer and he loves to get real detailed. So I'm just going to have him, so everybody knows what they are, and I think when you start thinking about moving forward on it. So for those that don't really know, I'm going to give you a quick reading of the definition. Sorry, thank you. I know I'm loud. A navigation easement is an agreement that compels property owners to cede air rights over their property to the government. This agreement restricts owners from building above a specific height and waives their rights to file a suit against owners and pilots of flying aircraft, and limits the liability of aircraft operators for causing a nuisance. In short, there are a lot of airports that have gotten closed down and in legal action because people move in later on and they don't like the airport there. And then there's a problem with it. And we all have examples of this. And now we're out in the middle of nowhere now, but the time to do it is now or soon. We're probably we could all be dead by the time it really matters. But we need to protect the airport and the property and the future of it. And I think it's an important thing. And it's eventually going to happen and get kicked up to the city council, and Carl Cooper will have to look at it and probably help out and that kind of stuff. But if that's okay, is that okay to have Scott come in and just give a little thing to educate us all on what they are? And
Yes, sir.
All that
That is perfectly fine. I'll reach out to Scott and
Okay.
get a date and time, which I need that information so we
Okay.
can place it on the agenda.
okay, great, thank you.
Commissioner Gerlach, do you have anything to add?
No.
Do you have anything?
I do not.
Nope.
So I don't have anything either. We're hoping to have some idea at the next meeting of what our financial status is with the long-range money that we need to spend within 5 years. And I think we're doing a real good job of staying actually below the budget. I like that. I think we all probably like that. And we'll look forward to hearing about the 5-year plan. We're spending the revenue from land sales. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? Then I think we could call for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. Second.
We've got a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. See you next meeting.